OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate. Niggas don't know what to think. Thought I get money, you change. What you thought we was the same? Still stay away from them clones. Niggas better leave me alone. Talking about niggas as though you run with niggas who don't know you. Whoa, I made that zagging when city to city. You niggas not hot in your state. If it was money to get a hit Henny, we get it and never complain. Same go for the game, and we split it up all the same. I can't really eat, let's stay straight, cause we go way back in the day. My day ones from back in the day, they still hang around me today. You wanna come round us, you can't. I'm rolling up loud, it's great. But mama, she bad but complain, cause I'm too in love with my dreams. And I gotta get on the plane, and go get this money with them. I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang.
I get the bag with the gang, taking that Zach to the bank. Henny be all in my drink. You niggas is stupid, you think that should change? You not even hot in your gang. Ain't nothing even hot about your gang. You niggas be lying about same. Be posting them pictures of guns for the fame. Niggas just look at me different now. Say that's your man, but he a clown. But fuck around with the fuck arounds. Little nigga, you should cut it out. Me and my niggas take different routes. Punch a bitch nigga all in his mouth. Hold up my nigga, we different now. I need a Robert, this is my style. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I get a bitch today, she probably a foreign model. I get a check today, I spent it all tomorrow. I'm with my gang today, tomorrow never promise.
OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang. OG, I draw up the plate, and then he go get the cake. Then we link up with the gang, gang, gang.
I think I'm cute, I know I'm sexy. I've got the look that drives the girls wild. I got the moves that really move them. I send chills up and down their spines. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot, I make them shiver. Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. They see me walk, they hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. Eat your heart out, girls. Hands off the merchandise. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. Not your boy toy. Welcome everybody to another edition of the Pocket Locker Podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast. And as always, folks, here we go. I am in airplane mode. Welcome. The entire late night crew is here. Sam's sleepy ass is here. The Refiner's Fire is here. One Hit Wonder is here. Boy, something to be thankful for. You got a piece of scientific equipment like that in your life. The sexiest United States championship in the history of word wrestling entertainment. I am talking about Liberty Bell is in the motherfucking house. And of course, the motherfucker who starts more right-wing conspiracies than I have PhDs. Give it up for Jewish Space Laser is in the house. That is the entire late night crew. We're here. We're ready to do the damn thing. It is Thanksgiving. And so, of course, it's Thanksgiving. We got to do a special little Thanksgiving show all about, it's our first Friendsgiving together. All right. So let's start by catching a little vibe now that everybody's here. And I'm going shot at yours, pull up.
Yeah. She be getting her hair done Tuesday.
Where you going?
Feet up, relaxing, sipping that Douce. If this was 2K shit, I could hit you on my two-way, or I could try to make you my new babe. I laid the dick down proper, it's a new day. Who ordered expensive lobster and souffle? Now that'll be me. Had to pull up in that CP3. Now do you love me, Lil' Key? Shot town to New Jersey, we gon' pull up. Hell yeah, I got the hook up. Anytime that you need me, we gon' pull up. Damn right, I got the hook up.
Alright, Melody Joy was first.
Now
A Million Pocket Things.
Had to bring you round just to show with the fam. Do no text, no calls, no reasons to be involved. Young John Wall taking what's give it and get it off. Come on.
What you doing, girl? Pull up on me.
A lot of time living in the moment. In the city with the gas roll for you. Can I come get you and we bend them corners like no disrespect about me.
No disrespect about me.
City, so you know I'm about it.
So you know I'm about it.
AR is second.
Days I'm in the hood like what it is. I might slide up on you like what up, bitch. Cause you know I like to play with you. Come spend the day with you, come kick it, seeing what it do. You feeling comfortable, I make the move.
Say
now
it
it's
to the
different though, I guess it's cool.
uppers.
You wasn't shy about my love, remember after school days when I picked you up. So now you fucked around and changed, almost messed it up. See, I ain't changed, baby, trying to catch a plane with you. Came back around to show you that I made for you. And here you go with the same old song on your weekend shit. I might just wish I never met her like Carl Tom is, but I ain't tripping, no. Stay up on the grind, we gon' get some dough. And you got that good ass brain, I had to let you know. Really wanna let you know. Tell me where you wanna go and what you wanna know.
Whoa.
What you doing, girl? Pull up on me. I ain't got a lot of time living in the moment. I'm in the city with the gas roll for you. Can I come get you and we bend them corners like no disrespect about me.
No disrespect about me.
City, so you know I'm about it.
So you know I'm about it.
I can tell you about it.
Now let me tell you
When
about
you playing, no, I had to shout it.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate everybody.
So you know I'm about it. I can tell.
What you doing, girl? Pull up on me. I spend a lot of time living in the moment.
In the city with the gas roll for you. Here we playing them corners like.
No disrespect about me. No disrespect about me. City, so you know I'm about it. So you know I'm about it.
I gotta hit Club tell you that.
Now let me tell you what you playing. No, I had to shout it. No, I had to doubt it.
I'm gonna call him when I end this damn stream. Alrighty. Appreciate everybody. Damn, son. Where'd you find this? Come on ahead, get with us and gather. Let me go ahead and I meant to drop the link. I don't think I dropped the link. All right. Let's drop the link here. Also, y'all, we are 25 subscribers away from 400. So we need to go ahead and make this push to 400 subs real quick. All right, gather, pin message. All right, so there's the link to join us and gather. Also gonna put it, I need to put it in the description. If YouTube would show me my live stream, that would be very helpful in this scenario. Boom, there we go. All right, join Friendsgiving in Gather. All right, now the link is in the description. So if you're watching this later, you can join us in Gather. All right, everybody, we're in Gather. We were in Gather overnight. We hung out here. We were late, at least to like 4, most of us last night, watching movies, playing cards, and hanging out and shit. Actually had some really good movies on. We'll do that overnight again, and I think we will be here probably through this weekend. So it's a special opportunity for those that are not members of the Cult of the Flying Man, and you don't have all the passwords to come to our regular gathers. Please take this opportunity to join us and gather and be part of our Thanksgiving celebration. All right, speaking of Thanksgiving celebration, gang, we got a lot to get into. Not a lot to get into, but we want to get into it because it's Thanksgiving, so we got a special show. All right, now before we do that, let's go ahead and take care of communion. I feel like it's Thanksgiving and I should have a robe on. Take care of that real fast. All right. Go with the OG robe. Also has the white piping, which matches my gloves. Ooh, nice. Actually, I need to break this out on Wednesday because my students are going to do their final presentations. All right, so here we go. Please raise your glasses and hold on to your asses. Through him, with him, in the unity of the flying man. All glory and honor is yours who fight for our sins forever and ever. You may drink. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Appreciate you all for being here. Let's get into, that was our communion hymn, the great Amen. Let's get into our communion song. Really appreciate you all for being here.
You're going to play what to finish us up?
Sometimes you want to go somewhere where everybody knows your name.
Oh, look forward to this. 5 hands, take it away.
Appreciate all you guys. Melody Joy, AR, Captive Desk. Sup, Dave, James Apperson, Satan's Little Helper, Jasper.
Takes everything you got. Taking a break.
Cameron Bennett is in the house. Stupid or Energy.
Wouldn't you like
There's a wild YouTube punk. Nidamos. Carrie Ann Chrysler, UC Love, Iron Charioteer.
Everybody knows your name.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, all those nights when you got no lights and the check is in the mail and your little angel on the countered by its tail. Your third fiancé didn't show. Well, sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. And you're always glad they came. You wanna be where you see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Well, you get out of bed and the coffee's dead. The morning isn't looking bright. You shrink right off to Europe and he doesn't even write. Your girlfriend says she's not a girl. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
All right, cheers, gang. I was officially supposed to take the first swig of that, but not the second. So
most common word coming in by text.
I'm already in the danger zone. So a few minutes from now, I'll probably be a little too sloshy. Boo gives a shit. It's Thanksgiving. I give a shit. Why? I'm gonna reveal a little something to you on an intimate day like Thanksgiving. I fear hangovers. Yes, I've had bad experiences with hangovers, too many of them. I went to Penn State. I'll fuck with hangovers. All right, now look. Let's go ahead and get into the heart of the show today. Really appreciate everybody for being here. So, I thought I'd start off by, of course, that was the Cheers theme song. We do watch Cheers together. If you link up with us and gather, we normally start our evening. Shouldn't start our day. We start the late part of our evenings, the overnight portion, so to speak. Usually with we usually watch some Cheers. That's kind of our show that we're going through as a community. It's it's the theme song, so. It's kind of our first show we're going through, but we love Cheers. Cheers is a fantastic show. I think we're in season 3. We've been watching Weeds. Then we usually watch a little bit of news, have a little fun with whatever's going on there for a half hour or so. And then we head into our feature movies. So Those of you that are not used to joining us and gather for overnight, that's what you can expect if you do. Of course, we usually playing cards, dominoes, video games. Other people are streaming, whatever's going on. Kind of a free-for-all. Of course, today we'll be watching football games. But I wanted to talk about this community, right? So, it's Thanksgiving. What do you do with Thanksgiving, the blase, and the glavinoids? Well, as you can see here, we are, in fact, in gather at our Friendsgiving gather. And Melody Joy is here with me. Carrie Ann is here. James Apperson is here. And one of the things that I think is a nice tradition, if you don't overthink it, and can be adopted whether you're religious or secular or somewhere in between, it's just the idea that Thanksgiving is a nice day to acknowledge what you're grateful for in your life. Which I think is an opportunity to remind ourselves that no matter how things may be going, how things were going yesterday and how they might be going tomorrow, we've all got plenty in our lives to be thankful for, even if for some people that literally is simply still being alive. Certainly the room is open for anybody to come and share what they're grateful for this year. But I'm going to go ahead and do that with you guys before I get into the content that I'm going to react to. And I will start by opening the floor to anybody in gather. So I know Carrie Ann is here. I know Melody Joy is here. And James is here. I'm not sure who's near their microphone. James, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Carrie Ann, are you near your mic? Melody, are you near your mic? I'm not sure.
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Carrie Ann. Yep.
Sorry, the dog.
You. All right. Well, I won't keep you. I know you want to. You're probably you and your dogs are probably deep in debate at the moment. AR's here too. AR, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, great. So let's let the ladies go first.
Yeah.
Lest the Christians accuse us of not having an objective basis for morality.
Fun.
But
Can I get an amen, Ken?
It's fun. But yeah, Carrie Ann, what are you grateful for this year?
I am grateful for finding all of you.
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely me too. That's gonna be the theme. That's gonna be the theme for me. Definitely. Yeah.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we don't appreciate the fact that we really are. Life is still happening, and we sort of, in my estimation, unfortunately, sort of see each other sometimes from stream to stream, and maybe day-to-day chats. But I remember feeling like I found this community when I didn't really have one, and I was really isolated due to COVID. So I kind of needed one, and I was trying to finish grad school, which is like a really, it's a difficult, it's stressful, it's difficult, and then you're doing it in isolation. And then it's weird too, because you work so hard and there's all these little things that just don't happen. So for instance, I didn't walk in graduation, and that sounds weird, like why would you care? But it's the thing you fantasize about. Yeah, and so you don't get to do those things because of the pandemic. And but having people, so I remember going on Mythvision a little while after I finished, and sort of Derek and they didn't know who I was. I wasn't making content or anything at that time. I was just showing up as a fan. Derek did like an open panel or something. But I shared that I had just finished grad school, and I remember Derek and Kip Davis and Josh Bowen congratulating me. You know, I was just a fan at that point, but that meant the world to me, you know, because you didn't get to share it with anybody. So, yeah, for them to just, you know, make me feel special at that time meant a lot. And so I just say that to say sometimes we don't know what each other are going through. But, yeah, this community can really be important to you going through things in life.
Well, I tell you what, my home life's chaos. So you guys are my sanity.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, actually.
And I'm grateful for that. Very grateful.
Yeah. Tell us more about your dogs. You spend a lot of time with your dogs. I know you're probably happy about them. What kind of dogs do you have? We hear them a lot. We don't know much else about them. We can't see them.
I have 3 huge dogs. One is a lab mix that was a biter, so we kept him so he wouldn't get put down.
I see.
One was running a neighborhood wild. She belonged to some drunk neighbors who never took care of her. And she came banging on my screen door at 3 a.m, porcupine quills in her face.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we held her down, we pulled them out, and we told the guys the next day, we're keeping her. Sober up and we'll give her back. You can come and visit anytime.
Wow.
And she's been here ever since. We've had her 4 years. 5 years. Dang. She is a boxer Great Dane mix. And she had a litter of puppies, and that's my wild. He's same size as her. They both come up to my hips. And he's just a pain in the butt. But I love him. He's all of energy. He's the only one that isn't a rescue, so he's like the spoiled rotten one. But yeah, they're good, but they don't get along too well. They're all jealous of each other. So you gotta look after them. You gotta make sure they're getting in and out. You gotta make sure they're not getting into anything. Make sure they're not fighting.
Right.
Other than that, they're pretty good. They're all sitting here trying to get at me now that I'm talking about them.
Also, something. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, because that's really cool that they're like rescues and, you know, the different situations you found. Sam's a rescue too. You've also started playing guitar, right? How did you start playing guitar?
Yeah, well, I'm into instruments. I've played the flute, clarinet, trumpet, bassoon, oboe.
Oh my!
And then I started learning guitar and just kind of fiddled around with it. And I
you
like
sound
to
like
sing.
a music education major. Like they have to learn all the instruments so they can be band teachers, right?
I just love music, and it's always been a good second nature. I just pick it up really quick. But when my dad died, he died in 2005. I just kind of stopped. I didn't have heart for it. And after meeting all you guys again, I got the heart for it again. So picked it up, and I've been putting those calluses back on the end of my fingers and trying to get a singing voice back again. I've been enjoying it too. I mean, I didn't realize how much I missed it until I started going back to it.
That's awesome. Are you playing an acoustic?
Yep. It's an acoustic. And I am not like proficient. I know the chords. I strum. I do a little bit of picking.
There you go.
All right.
Hey, Gabe's here.
Gabe's here, and
Hey,
AR
Cameron.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I was.
Yeah.
This
By the pool table.
I can't move around. I can't move around the screen or anything, Jay.
Do you have a phone, or what are you on, a phone, a tablet, a computer?
I'm on a PC.
If you're on a PC, the arrow keys should be the easiest way to move around.
But I couldn't see where I was or anything.
Oh, sometimes you're just in a view, and then a lot of times if you load in, since Myron bot sharing his screen, it'll pop up with the screen share.
Oh,
so
yeah,
then,
that's right. So hit escape, I think.
Yeah, I always forget that. Because then, you know, it's like when you load in, you'll see Myron bot the screen, full screen, and then people don't know to exit out of it.
Now I'm working. Now I Zoom.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Also,
participant. I couldn't Zoom. I was zoomed all the way in, and I couldn't zoom out to see where I was. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, now it's all working. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. I've done that. I had to reload before.
Happy Day, everybody.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
Happy
Thanksgiving, all that.
Friendsgiving, yeah.
Dave, what are you grateful for this year?
My health and my family's healthy, and you know.
Oh yeah.
The little things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, at one point today, I thought to myself, I'm really grateful I don't have COVID right now. You know, even something that simple. But yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I've been good. I knock on wood, I haven't gotten it. So,
yeah.
But I was up late making a new video, so everybody check out my new video.
Oh yeah,
it's inspirational. It's inspirational.
What's the?
All right.
What's the name?
I dropped it in.
Oh, did you? Where'd you put it? Yeah, let me find.
I put it in videos.
Oh, you put in videos. All right, let me. I think my Discord's safe. I don't think anybody sent me any nudes or anything. All right, let's go to videos. Which is unfortunate, yeah. Oh yeah, here's the link. All right, guys, it's in our Discord. Like Dave said, it's right under videos, which is always where it should be. But I'll go ahead and drop it in chat too, just so people can see it there. Dave, when did you start your koi pond, and what does that do for you, right? So we know you're providing a habitat for a whole lot of animals and a little ecosystem, but you know, if that's, you know, is that sort of a meditative experience for you, caring for that space?
Oh, definitely. One of the topics on Rebecca's channel, or one of the talks or something we did, I said that yes, people can find peace and solace and everything in religion and prayer and everything, but people also find it when they climb a mountain, or when they work in their garden, or you know, artists, you know, painters and sculptors. You know, there's a lot of things that you can get that same kind of, you know, peace and connection with nature, whatever whatever you're type into. Now, back in the day, I had a whole lot of fish tanks. When I was a kid, I had over a dozen fish tanks. And then slowly I dwindled down to one great big fish tank. And then I got a turtle. So I started a little container outside. And then I made a little goldfish pond. Then I made a bigger one. And then COVID hit. So the government sent me a check, and they said, spend this check and stay home. So I rubbed my chinny chin chin, and I thought, I think I'll order a new liner. So that was the beginning of the expansion of the pond. And if anybody wants to see my pond build, you can go to Dave M on YouTube. And I have a video there, start to finish, and through 2 seasons. So you can see everything grow back in, the grass and all the plants and everything.
Interestingly, this is the promise of automation. So Cliff and I were talking about this earlier this week, whereas like he's kind of concerned that the whole movement towards automation could go the direction of basically there's a class of wealthy people, they control the means of production, they don't need workers anymore, and it becomes sort of a dystopian capitalist nightmare. Very possible. But if we go a different direction, what you're talking about is what a lot of people have really found to be the basis of their support of universal basic income, right? COVID gave us a sneak peek, and unfortunately it was under dire conditions, right, because of a pandemic. But let's imagine it's not because of a pandemic. Let's imagine it's just because there's just so much labor that's been replaced with automated robots. there's this thing, it's a universal basic income, and if you either don't want to work, can't work, or for whatever other reason, everybody just gets these checks. And that's kind of what COVID was. Some people needed those checks. Those checks were direct replacement to work they did, to income they weren't getting for their jobs, and it kept them afloat. Other people, and that's kind of what a universal basic income would do, right? Everybody gets this, especially if you're below a certain cutoff and whatever, right? But I always loved that aspect of it. The idea of it's like, here, stay home, but here's enough money to take care of your shit. And if you want to pursue something and put this towards that, then go for it, right? And that kind of brought me around a universal basic income, where all of a sudden it was like a way to free people to spend their time doing what they want to do. And the thing is, I have this secret where I actually don't think people are lazy, and I think most people are, you know, creative or artistic, or they're gonna do something, right? And it's really just interesting to think about if we gave more people the opportunity to pursue, you know, their passions, as opposed to making everybody work just to make ends meet. And
well, sure, and even just like doing these videos, I mean, it took me a little while to, you know, buy a microphone and, you know, make sure you got a decent computer and everything. And you hear from a lot of people that say, yeah, I want to do a channel, but you know, I don't have a couple bucks for this, that, and everything. And if somebody could just throw them a couple bucks, and that goes back to, you know, there's so much money tied up with the rich that would be a great tax to put on them, just to get the money back into the economy, you know. Right. And I don't begrudge rich people, you know, like Jeff Bezos. I love Amazon, right?
Yeah, right.
But like I say, though, you know, he uses the sidewalks, the roads, the bridges, the ports, the airports. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they should be kicking back in for all of that. You know, every time I see the crack in my sidewalk out there, I was thinking, you know, the mailman or the mail lady could trip on that. And where's Bezos? You know, that's all.
Yeah,
I don't mind if he's rich. I don't mind if he earned it and he gets the reward for his inventions. I got no problem with that. But yeah, that money though needs to be back circulating through.
It's sort of weird. I've worked with some candidates, and I know a lot of people don't like the privatization of certain things, but I thought that was a good way to do business to an extent, like you said. You know, why not let Amazon come into a major city, fix the potholes, put a little sign on the side of the road that says, you know,
sure,
these
roads
you want to put a
sign
are maintained by Amazon.
I'd rather have a Trump highway or a Trump bridge than to have a Trump wall that everybody just climbs over, you know? Yeah, put your name on it. Go ahead, you know?
Because we don't care. We just want the paved roads, right? We'll learn to ignore the sign, right?
Yeah, people, you know, the people used to do that. You know, they would build libraries and hospitals and put their name on it as a legacy, you know, and we need more of that.
Randy said that his in-laws always had lasagna on Christmas. It was a nice change. Carrie Ann was talking last night about how she was thinking about doing lasagna for Thanksgiving, but she just didn't think she had enough mouths to feed. But she was saying if she had more, then yeah, she do. It's the same thing with me. Like, I'm doing salmon. You know, I don't have a family or anything like that. So, you know, I haven't done a turkey. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. At some point, especially if this is gonna sound weird, I really am into producing content, I guess. I always think if I did more where I kept my kitchen together, we've had some fun streams where I've like cooked or whatever and just brought you guys into the kitchen to see what I got going on in there. But I would love to get like a big ass deep fryer or a smoker and you know, one year do a big smoked turkey, next year do a fried one or whatever. I'd be into it. But yeah, I don't have the mouths to feed. Is what I'm getting. I don't have the mouths to feed, but I'd do it anyway if I could do it. I'll do it. I'll do it just to have you guys on the adventure with me, trying to figure out how to actually smoke a turkey. Mostly, like, it's funny because mostly when I cook, like, you know, shit comes out pretty fantastic if you just pay attention or whatever. But it's always an adventure, and I think that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah, I kind of want you to teach me the salmon.
So the salmon is really simple. It's a recipe I've shared. My mom gave it to me. It's just a recipe for like this dry rub. It's sort of like a barbecue dry rub. You basically put that on it, and then you just you know, put the salmon in the oven, comes out real nice and flaky. The only thing I really did any differently is pretty basic. Once I think it's really done, especially a day like today, like Thanksgiving, I'll go ahead and pop it under the broiler for a couple minutes. So, for instance, I think what I'll do is probably, because I got to prepare the mac and cheese, and I shred the cheese and do the whole baked mac from scratch. Exactly. You know, from a roux and all of that. So I'll probably bake the mac and cheese, pull that out, have my salmon ready to go, put the salmon in the oven, and then what I do to finish the salmon is basically I'll pop it under the broiler. That way the dry rub gets kind of crusted, you know what I mean, under that broiler. And then the same thing you do to the mac and cheese to get that kind of bubbly top or whatever, you know, the little broiled top for the mac and cheese.
I put breadcrumbs.
I was thinking, I was literally in the shower last night thinking, I didn't get any breadcrumbs. I normally don't go with breadcrumbs, but I do kind of want to try it out.
I keep them around because I make a lot of meatloaf and meatballs.
And if people that don't like fish, if you haven't had smoked salmon, you're missing out, because that is that is just delicious. I'm not a big fan of salmon, but oh man,
AR said
you smoke it and it's
loves
just
the skin. Yeah, but that monsters throw it out. See, I've been guilty of both. Sometimes I save the skin and then I just don't do anything with it in time. But yeah, I like to take the skin. You can fry it up, crisp it. The skin becomes kind of wonderful. AR, you said you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
YouTube Punk's one of them silent. I don't. Some of our people are more the quiet. I see. It's kind of interesting. The quiet crowd, Cameron, Punk, and Melody. They're kind of over there together. I'm just so happy to have people in here with us. You know, it's all good. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
But what are you grateful for this year, man?
I mean, other than meeting a lot of new people, especially around here, it's been a real interesting year. You know, I'm glad my family's doing good. Everyone's, you know, not fighting each other or anything like that. You know, but things could be a little better, but they could be a little worse. So yeah, I'm just happy.
Isn't that the facts that they can always be a little better?
Oh, yeah.
But you know, today's a day we're thinking about how they could always be worse. Tomorrow we'll get back to how they could be better. Yeah, man, that's awesome. So yeah, I don't want to put any pressure on anybody to speak up, but certainly Cameron, Punk, Melody, if you guys want to say anything, feel free to. I think James may have popped out. I don't know if he'll pop back in or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta go check on my food.
Oh, so, yeah. I know people are gonna be in and out. They got a lot.
Yeah, I'll be in and out, but I'm here.
Appreciate you.
That's wonderful, Dave.
Thanks so much, Dave. We'll see you later.
Right.
Real quick, I gotta eat, but I'm thankful for friends. All my friends. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Melody.
Thanks, Melody.
We hear you, Melody.
Cool.
We love you too.
Yeah, we love you. We're really grateful. Really thankful that you support us and you're always here on our streams. And yeah, it's I don't know. I feel really lucky that we have so many people that you know, we get to touch base with day in and day out. And
Melody's also been really great in helping us get Gather going. She's always here and got a desk going and pops in during the day. And, that was like all these things are really big shifts for me as far as the channel is concerned, and definitely as far as the community is concerned. And so you kind of never
Melody
know.
is like super mod. You are super mod. You are just awesome.
Yeah, but it definitely helps because when you try to do something different and your mods jump on it, it just kind of helps. Like, oh, okay, people actually like this. All right, that's good. But yeah, Melody, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll be back later. I just got to go eat. So.
Cool.
Enjoy your meal.
Enjoy your meal. Yeah, so there are cards in Gather. The card tables are out back. So basically what happens is most of the games you guys see in Gather are really just websites. And Gather has, I think of it as just strategic partnerships with certain websites so that they become integrated in Gather. So give you guys a quick example. Hang on, gang. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
If I go over here to the Tetris, and I go to play Battle Tetris, right? So it's got this whole cool arcade look, and it's like built in together. If we open this, if I just hit X, right? So now you have this Tetris built in together. If you notice, this is actually just Jtris, which is a website. And it's basically integrated into Gather. Now, we'll come back to that in a second. AR, let's go back over the table.
Okay.
Once he does, you wrote.
Yeah, I was just showing them real quick an example of how Gather has certain apps built into it. Hang on a sec. Let me mute MyronBot. All right, that's fine. All right, so why is that important? All right, so now I'll show people on stream. You can actually just bookmark Jtris, right? So if I go to bookmarks, I have all the Gather games bookmarked. If I just go to Tetris, Jtris, right? Now I'm at the same website, and you can see it looks exactly like it is in the app. And that's really nice. Why? All right, so here's the first secret. This is a kind of a Gather secret for the community. Once you realize the application that a certain Gather game or application uses, just bookmark it. Why? Because then you can come to it anytime, and you don't have to worry about, actually going over to a particular area. In other words, you can access it and play it from anywhere because you've just bookmarked the website. Oh, goodness, that was a terrible move. All right, here we go.
We have a message from YouTube Punk.
So,
and he's thankful for finding this community. Thanks, Jay. And praise Myron.
Let's go over. Yeah, all right. So, nearby. Yeah, so here's a message from YouTube Punk. I'm thankful for finding this community. Thanks, Jay, and praise Myron. Thanks so much, YouTube Punk. I really appreciate that. Also, I'm really thankful for YouTube Punk, man. YouTube Punk is a lot of things in this community. It's our prop master. So YouTube Punk takes care of a lot of the stuff you guys see on the stream aesthetically, the images and the props and stuff you see on the set, and a lot of what we'll be doing going forward as far as building our different sets and rigs. YouTube Punk and I talk a lot about those ideas. A lot of the sound effects you guys hear I get from YouTube Punk, but YouTube Punk also coordinates a lot of our community efforts in terms of getting people equipment, or if somebody has a need in our community. Also, the Birthday King, making sure everybody gets taken care of when it's their birthday and sort of coordinating those efforts. So, the one thing
finds us some really cool clips. Some really
the clips,
videos.
The videos, yeah.
He's got one in there.
Yeah, there's one right here, yeah.
Not sure what it is.
But that was sort of the thing that I've even told some of my advisors, is that our community is really filled with this unique class of power users. The only reason that So I always say people use YouTube wrong, and we use it like a bar when we use it to build community and make friends and stuff like that. But you can only do that if you're dealing with a particular class of YouTube people that are like power users. You know, if you try to build community in a YouTube channel where everybody just watches, good luck with that. You know, if you try to go with a community where people just comment once in a while, good luck with that. You actually need a community where people are active in the comment section, they interact with each other, they talk in the live chats, they'll join Discords, they'll send in clips, they make art, like, you know, so we're lucky, really, really lucky because, you know, of the particular people, it's almost like YouTube 1%ers in a sense, right? That really rare class of viewer and subscriber that is the ideal YouTube viewer that has the potential to support you, even financially, right? YouTube punks, you know, the super chats, the Patreons, the subscriptions, all that type of stuff. So it's one of the reasons I was shaking my head when Doug threw YouTube punk under the bus. I was like, bro, if you don't give a shit about me, that's fine. But if you're gonna go throwing like people like YouTube punk and Cameron under the bus, it's like you look real bad right now.
Those are like #1 fans.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It makes it very obvious that you're not paying attention to this community. Very, very obvious. But yeah, appreciate all you guys. Thankful skin rash. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad to have you guys all here. All right, so for
Stupid Horror Energy's in the house somewhere.
Oh yeah. That's hopefully she'll pop in and get over here.
Oh, here she comes. I'm excited.
All right. I think she found her way over here. Yeah, she got to come and get on the carpet. There you go.
Yes.
All right, table's filling up here.
I need more chairs.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Happy Friendsgiving.
Happy Friendsgiving. What's up, guys?
Not much. We're just chilling.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming through.
Yeah, my boss made me come in early for the game, and of course, like, nobody's here.
They're coming, though.
Yeah, well, they're all going to be coming later on when they're all done with their families and, like, you know, want to bitch about it. I'm here for them. I got all the booze in the world to cure all.
Awesome.
So I'm like, fuck it. I'm making money. I get to drink for free, and I'll probably get some free food later. So it's a win-win all around.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Hopefully you get good tips.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Milk the they to work on Thanksgiving. You know, play that.
All
like,
right.
I wish I was.
Love it.
All right, you gotta do the corny family thing and tell us what you're thankful for this year.
Oh,
Stupid Horror Energy.
Exactly. Why not? Just go crazy with it. What is everyone thankful for this year?
No, this is for you. No, you're. This is your time. You tell us what you're thankful for.
But I don't know. I'm thankful to be alive and healthy still, I guess.
There you go. That's
wonderful.
You know?
We're thankful too.
Same.
Like, you know, there's a bunch of things. You know, everyone has little problems, but at least every day I wake up healthy, and you know, I got a roof over my head, and I have a job and stuff like that. You know.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Can't focus on the small things.
I think that's one of the. It's not a silver lining even, but when you live in a time where everything feels so precarious, there's famine, disease, war, everything all the time. You actually do, like, you wake up every day like, all right, I'm still okay today. All right, well, good to go.
Could be worse, you know.
Could be worse, yeah.
Right? Like, I could be struggling. I could be like, how am I going to pay for my, you know, bills, or how am I going to eat my next meal or anything, you know? At least I don't have to worry about things like that, and that's the most important stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So days like this, that makes you reflect.
Yeah. I think it's like one day to do that. I think that's a kind of a good thing. It's a good it's always any excuse you can find to be appreciative. There's
exactly
go for it. So when do you expect it to pick up? Probably for the afternoon, essentially, because it's still like dinner time, right? So like you said, people still with their families, but
I
they'll
feel like
want to
people are
drink
taking
later.
naps right now.
Yeah.
Like even when I talk to my family, like, yeah, we just ate and we're going down for a nap. I'm like, oh, okay. Like right when I'm going to work. That's probably everybody though.
Yeah, you said a lot of your family's in Miami.
Yeah. So, which is nice to go run away to, nice weather, but it's also
like
hard, really far away.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you call? I need to call. I still got a couple family members I need to call.
Wow, you better call. It's
say
only
hi.
5. It is late for Thanksgiving calls.
Yeah, some of them I called earlier. They didn't answer, so that's
all right. My mom won't answer the phone till like 10 p.m.
Yeah,
right? You're like, okay, now everything's settled. I'm ready to talk.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried. Do you get more tips on a holiday? Like, is it busier? Like, what's the vibe? I always feel like there's a little bit of those people who are like, man, you're working on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. They feel terrible, but also it's so different after like COVID hit. It's just like no one really goes out as much, or like people can't afford to, or even be generous on the holidays, stuff like that. So it could really be hit or miss. But I do have a lot of friends that said they're going to come by and like take care of me. So at least I have that and whatever else is extra.
Do you have a high turnover bar, or is it mostly regulars from day to day?
I work at 2 different places. So one is kind of like chill regulars, like a bar. The other one's like a nightclub, like a cocktail lounge. And I'm always busy working parties. So it's like good. I got 2 different deals.
Yeah, that's like both extremes, right? One's high
then
pace,
so
you don't know as many people, and then the other is like you get to know people.
Exactly. So it's like, one, I get chill and, hang out with the regulars and have an easy time. The next, it's like, oh, it's nightlife, it's pumping, it's exciting, and meet new people, that kind of thing. So it switches it up. Otherwise, I'd be killing myself if it was one or the other. So
the other thing is, I don't know if people realize this, but like, so I was a bartender in New Jersey, right? And there's like levels to this, to where, all right, I had to go to bartending school, but like I worked in New Jersey, and I worked at a catering hall. So
that's not
we
bad.
mostly did like you do like bar mitzvahs and weddings and proms, all this type of stuff. And so you don't serve a ton of drinks because people don't order crazy shit. And 2, like, I don't know, it's just not that hard. Like, you know what I mean? You're like a dining room bartender, all right? So it's considered like harder or like more of a skill to work in an actual bar, right? Where you have regulars, people could order anything under the sun. Yeah. You might deal with rowdy people. Like, it's just a whole different skill set, right?
Exactly.
And then the environment is different. So I don't think sometimes people realize like you're a bartender, but you work at like real bars and shit. Yeah. And you work in New York, right? Like real New York, like real actual New York. Like, so to me, for most of us, that's like,
you're dealing with everybody.
If you can bartend in New York, you're doing that real shit.
Yeah. 100. Thank you for recognizing me. Much appreciated.
Yeah, that's not you're not serving screwdrivers at brunch in the
it's not like here's your Bud Light shot of Jack and call it a day. Like, old fashions, Negronis, like suck my dick drinks.
Yeah.
Mojitos.
Yeah.
Like all that jazz.
Yeah, it's a tough gig at times.
Yeah, but also very rewarding and hard to get out of,
Yeah.
Lots of pros, lots of cons, but at the end of the day, you're like, it worked out. You're like, all right, the money talks. I won't even forget about Joe Schmo cursing me out earlier.
So one thing I noticed is you're really helpful in terms of encouraging people to like follow and do sporting stuff. Were you always a sports fan, or is that something that came with like that scene?
I guess it just came with the scene. I always loved playing sports and stuff when I was a kid, but like, working in bars and stuff and, the competitiveness and betting and everything, then I'm like, all right, I want in on this. So Yeah, definitely Yankee fan. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Homer. All right. Yeah, no, of course. So you're in New York. So you're going to be a Yankees or a
Aaron
Mets fan.
Judge.
Yeah.
My homie.
The Yankees are actually my favorite baseball team, too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they always have been. I grew up in that era where they were like the team, and then my family was like my family's actually full of Mets fans.
I mean, I support the Mets, but I mean.
So I'm like, nah.
Yeah, like, Yankees number one.
Yeah, I'm going to go against the grain. Yeah.
You already know.
Well, a lot of people in New Jersey are New York sports fans because they don't have, that they're right there.
Well, yeah. Exactly. You guys don't really have much besides New York.
Yeah, like now my mom lives in New Jersey, but it's a suburb of Philly, so everybody is like Philadelphia sports fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, just interesting. All right, what borough do you live in?
That's brutal.
What borough do you live in?
Queens.
All right, tell us why your borough's the best, because Blase and the Glaive and all that. Go ahead, I know you want to. I know you want to talk shit about the other boroughs.
Nah, they all suck. This place sucks. It's like it's New York and it's Queens and it's like, I love it, but I fucking hate it at the same time, You can't leave it, but you can't stand it either. But just something about it. I don't know. Anytime I go to Florida, I'm like, yeah, it's nice to get away, but I'm itching to get back. Like the food, the people, just how it is, just different vibe. It's just everything, People are real. You don't go down south and they're all fake to your face. And, people are real. They're like, oh, go fuck yourself. Or, hey, you want to come over for Thanksgiving dinner after you bump into them at the grocery store? It's like, oh, okay. It's just like the food's better. Just, it's New York City. You just can't beat that.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think like that's one thing. The food, the palate, everything's different. You go other places and you just it's missing something. So you think you're a New Yorker for probably for life because it's hard to you get kind of spoiled.
Exactly, and you just have this certain drive, mindset, just like personality. So you go anywhere else, you're like, what the fuck is happening here? This is so not New York.
Yeah, even something simple like a slice of cheese pizza. You can find a slice of cheese pizza in New York City you'll be like, oh, this is what pizza's supposed to taste like.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll never find that anywhere else. Like
I refuse to eat anywhere. Like if I go to see family in Florida, I'm like, we're not getting pizza. I swear to God, no Italian, no Olive Garden. We ain't doing this. We're doing something else. I don't care. Let's do barbecue. I don't care. But we're not doing no chain Italian or pizza shops. I'll tell you that much.
Moving to the Midwest has been a rough adjustment on the palate.
There's not much to choose from.
Nope.
I'm sure there's also some benefits too,
Yeah, lots of trees.
Yeah, peaceful,
Okay, the thing I like mostly is the pace is slower, right? The pace is slower, it doesn't cross. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that I don't miss about the East Coast is like just everybody being caught up in the fucking rat race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. That's why I like going to Florida because it's just like I can relax, breathe, de-stress. And then I come back here, I'm like, oh, back on the fucking bullshit. Work, stress, go here, go here.
Right.
Just can't help but be in that go mindset.
Yeah. And the other thing is the hours. You work so you're primarily working late overnight, right?
Yeah.
And then you sleep during the day. You got to sleep during the day. So it's a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, because all I do is work and get ready for work. So I work, I got in early for Thanksgiving in the game. So right now I'm working 4:30 to probably 4:35 a.m. But normally it's 7 to 5 a.m. Maybe even later, depending. And then I go to bed at 6 something, and I wake up around maybe 2 or 3. Shower, get ready, go to work again.
And then you're out of sync with the whole world.
Yeah, and then I might have a day or two off, but I don't want to do shit. I just sleep all day, or I do laundry, get ready for the next work week, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to go out when you bartend 5 nights a week. You're like, oh, this is what I deal with. I'm working for free now, and I'm losing money because I'm blowing money.
You're spending money. Yeah, and then you're want to go out, and you don't want to be. Yes.
So I'm very picky if I go out. It has to be somewhere specific. I don't want to be anywhere where I work or anywhere I'm going to run into people. I want to go away from everything. Let's go to the city. Let's go to the store at Brooklyn. I don't care. Get out of Queens, completely.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that's amazing too about New York is you got the subway, you know. It's just a whole different thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that pretty much anywhere.
So much. Like, you go to AC, you go to Long Beach, you go to Pennsylvania, upstate. Like, you do so many things in this area any season.
Yes. Also, you're so close to everything.
Right?
Like the travel and everything. I miss that area. I always just talk trash about New York because it's so expensive. It's just everything's so
getting
expensive.
Worse.
Yeah.
So bad.
But people, I mean, it's like you got to have that on your bucket list.
Just like, you know, with us in Disney World or something. Like, we have to go, and it's such a big thing. But if you go to Florida, if you're from Florida, you're like, oh, okay, just Disney World. What do you care? It's like whatever to them. It's like the same thing. It's like to us, it's like, oh, it's a city. Okay, cool. We're sick of it. We go there all the time.
Yes, absolutely. I remember that when I lived in Newark, I used to get annoyed sometimes. I'm like, why do y'all want to go to New York so much? Like, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Like, we live in Newark. We got everything here.
Exactly. But it's different. It's like, yo, they want to be like, I was in New York City. I was here. I was there. I saw this. And it's like, you know. So I try to play tourist when I have friends come to visit.
Yeah.
You know, let's go to Times Square. Sure.
Did you know there's a pay-per-view this weekend?
No.
There's WWE.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Time to get my bets going.
Yes.
Time to get back on FanDuel.
How does that work, though? How do you bet on something predetermined?
Oh, I don't know. I got to see if it is on there. But, like, other fights, like, you know, are on there. Like, what is it called? Like, when they do just regular fight nights and stuff. Maybe it's MMA. I can't remember. But I was able to bet stuff like that. Like, all right, this guy's going to win. Or he's going to win by a knockout or something. But I don't know if that's different from what you're talking about.
No, it is. It's just interesting because it's like they know already, but you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they get you. They're like, oh, we're going to do a plus money on this one or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm always worried they'll be back there. They'll be like, well, we'd make more money if we just switched.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let's put the one that's going to win plus money because then it's going to freak everyone out because they're like, nah, they're not going to pick that. They're going to pick the minus because that's a guarantee. So maybe we should do that. Put some money on the plus and see what happens. Be like, yo, our theory was right. They're scamming us.
So you enjoy the sports betting, right? That's something I've been thinking about putting more in the ranch, the other one, like a sports betting room. It's fun. So I think it makes you pay more attention to sports you normally wouldn't. I think the same thing about fantasy sports, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not so exciting. You're just like, okay, I'm not going to watch a whole game. Even like baseball, I love. I wouldn't watch a whole game unless I'm at the stadium. But if I'm betting, for sure, I'm definitely watching that game.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, thanks so much for streaming like the fights and everything and gather. It's really helpful.
Anytime.
All right, this has been super fun. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to actually talk about what I'm grateful for, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get into this Jordan Peterson clip. Thanks to everybody for hanging out and gather. And I know people will be in and out through the day, but we'll be here throughout the weekend. So we're not going anywhere, and I'm actually going to stay here at this table area throughout the entire day. All right, so let's get it going.
I'm going to get going because I got to do some prep work for tonight. But I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. It was great talking to you.
Oh, as always, thank you so much. And also, thanks for all your financial support. You're like a number one fan. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It actually helps me out a lot. I won't go into details, but every dollar helps. I'll just put it that way. And have fun cutting those lines. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, at least they're not onions, right?
Hey, look on the bright side.
All right, exactly. I always stay positive, guys.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
All right. So, all right, gang, I'm really grateful for you guys. Like I said, you might not realize it, but, finding this community at a time when I was, isolated due to COVID was really clutch. Also, like I said, trying to finish my dissertation was you know, just something I really needed. To be honest, I've been a believer in online communities for quite some time because, as a lot of you guys know, I've been part of a GTA motorcycle club for a long time, and I've had, you know, NBA 2K and WWE communities in my life, so sort of communities around gaming, and I was a Twitch streamer for a long time. But I was sort of in a period of my life where I wasn't gaming a lot, so I wouldn't say I lost touch with those communities, but it had primarily come down to my club, and you know, I just wasn't gaming as much, and certainly, like I said, due to COVID, I just wasn't having as much community. So my club had like always been a part of my life, but I think during COVID, I definitely needed something else, especially as sort of atheism and just my personal identity became more important to me. Where I feel like with my gaming, with my club, with my motorcycle club, it's like, you know, I don't want to say we avoid those things, but they just don't come up a lot. And it's just not what we're about, right? We're just kind of all about the club. And so I think this community helped me grow, like, personally and intellectually in a way I really needed. The other thing is, you know, really from the perspective of trying to grow a channel in a community, like, that has been huge. I don't think people quite recognize it enough, but like I said, I started the old school way as like a Twitch streamer, and I realize how hard it is to get viewers. And the difference between streaming to no one or streaming to just one or two people once in a while versus pretty much being able to reliably count on, you know, a small but consistent community to be there is huge. I mean, it's huge. I mean, because so many content creators just have to create for no one, and they have to do their best and put on their best shows and make their best videos. And it's never fair. It's never fair. So I've worked so hard to get where I'm at as a content creator, including a long period of so much work that really, you know, I wasn't able to grow the way I probably should have been able to on Twitch based on the effort I was putting in, the consistency, and how hard I was and what I was doing. And that's fine. It's just hard. It's really hard to grow on Twitch. So nobody's entitled to that. And then the same thing on YouTube. Like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh man, you should just have so many more subs and so many more viewers. And, you know, you're doing all this great stuff and you need more subs and viewers or whatever. I'm like, that will come. But I'm so grateful to have the friends and fans and viewers that we have. Like, I always tell people, you know, growth mentality is fine. You know, if you got, you know, if you got 3,000 subs and you're trying to work towards 10,000 subs, amen, hallelujah. You know, grow and get better and get bigger. But, you know, the people that I think are good at this, they don't focus on growing a number over the number itself. To me, you've got the game fucked up if you've got 30 viewers or 30 subscribers and all you're focused on is getting to 100 subscribers because you're not focused on putting on a great show for the 30 subscribers you have that are watching you. So I'm always like, yeah, growth is cool, but like, fuck, we've got, you know, like I said, we're getting close to 400 subs. So and I don't want people to take this for granted. Like I'm just trying to be rosy or nice. There's a very funny game that plays out at the university level, especially a university like Michigan State or the ones I've been working with. It's a very elite type opportunity, right? You got a PhD, you teach at a university, you have really amazing students, blah, 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 blah. All that's true, all that's fucking wonderful. But it's funny, like, I realized something that I talked to my advisors about. Me and Rob teach this amazing evolution class, this Darwin's Law class. But there's two of us, right? So think about this. Our students have two fucking, in my opinion, top-notch professors. One, a fucking world-class fucking, you know, professor like Rob with a whole career and amazing accomplishments, and you're just so lucky to have a class with him. And then me, somebody who's just like passionate and hungry and creative, and they get the best of both worlds. But we have 15 students registered for our class. 2 of them never show up. So we really teach like 13 or 14 students. That's amazing. So now you have 2 faculty members. Do the math, y'all. That's like 7 students. It's like a 7-to-1 ratio. It's amazing for a university. What's my point? You realize that education and outreach and impact, even in an academic setting, is not about the numbers. They don't pay us to teach. Now, look, some people will. Like, I've taught a sociology of race class where we have 400 plus students, right? So that's numbers. You know, what did you do today? We taught 400 fucking students is what we did today. You know, it's some big-ass lecture class. But even that, you know, you have like a recitation or like like a breakout class where you actually have discussions and not just your lecture. Well, that class is probably going to have 25 or less. So the lecture might be really big, but the really more, you know, intense interpersonal learning is going to happen in a smaller group. Why am I mentioning this? That's what y'all do for me. Because I'm like, dog, 20 people watched my stream today. Well, what does that mean? Y'all might go, oh, Jay, it was just 20 people watched your stream. It's not a lot of people. What am I going to tell you? It's more fucking people than the universities pay me to teach. So we're good to go. University will pay my whole fucking year salary, and they'll be like, oh, Jay, y'all taught 15 students this year? Cool. Here's your entire year salary. You're good to go. Yeah, all your teaching requirements are good to go. Right? Next semester, I'm not going to be teaching at Michigan State. I'm going to be teaching at a community college. But literally, I'm going to have one class. I'm going to teach the lab. I don't know what it is. I'll probably have less than 50 students, right? So, and again, they're doing it online, so I probably might even have less than 25. And then, so this is what I'm saying. I don't need to have 100 people watching all my streams or fucking 20,000 subs to be making the type of impact that is comparable or even exceeds the number of people I'm, influencing and educating in my actual job. And on top of that, y'all are the people that I want to be reaching because, number one, you don't have the access to the shit that my students have. So that's the whole point, right? The whole point is to use outreach and education to reach people who don't have the type of educational opportunities my students have. My students are spoiled fucking brats. Getting fucking, they have fucking unbelievable training and backgrounds, and now they've got all this fuck that. I mean, it's wonderful. It's amazing for them and for me. But I want to help people that just are regular people out there trying to fucking learn something. And then on top of that, it's like, you guys actually, I don't want to say need, but you have an appreciation for evolution education, because the average bear doesn't give a shit about biology, nor should they. The average bear probably just accepts that they evolved and don't really need to think about it much more than that. But a lot of you guys, because you're atheist or liberal or counter-apologetics or whatever, you know, it's like you might just be having a conversation about the fact that you don't believe or you're on the left or whatever, and then all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, well, you're one of them naturalistic, Darwinist people who thinks that we evolved from primates, huh? Don't you? Checkmate atheist, right? And so now you gotta like have a whole fucking conversation about evolution that you didn't plan to have or want to have. So what does that mean? A lot of y'all are actually trying to get hip to evolution. Y'all are like, yo, Jay, we kind of like learning more about evolution. We want to follow along with your class. We want to hear more about your research, because why? It's not for no reason. It's probably because you recognize that this is a topic that actually comes up in your conversations or in the videos you watch or in the community or in the debates that you see, or, it's something that that you have family or friends that don't accept, or you have family or friends that, reject it or have even hostility towards it. So you actually appreciate understanding it better. So for me, it's like, as an educator, you don't want to educate in a vacuum. Like, if you're an accounting professor, you don't want to just teach people who are like, oh, yeah, I was bored. I didn't know what to do. I needed to take some general education classes, so I signed up for an accounting class. Like, you're happy to do that. Like, that's cool. Here, learn something about accounting, have better personal finance, whatever, right? But if you're an accounting professor, who do you really want to teach? Either accountants or motherfuckers that have to do the accounting for something, right? In other words, people who need or want what it is you're selling. And so I'm grateful that I actually have an audience that needs or wants what I do. And I told this to my advisor, Mike, and I'll share it with you guys because it's, thanks Friendsgiving. I said to him, I've been looking at this all wrong. Like, all of this stuff about, I'm doing this really cool stuff and my community supports it. And, they're here for me and all of this. It's like, that's not really the focus. Like, I was kind of looking at it wrong. I was looking at it like, oh, there's what I'm doing and I have fans. I said, no, the real thing is this about education. It's about people who actually want and can use what you can show them or what they can learn from you. And if you have that, then that's why what you're doing matters. It doesn't matter that some academic has fans for their shit. It doesn't matter that some Assyriologist can fucking tell you why the true history of the Levant region doesn't support the Exodus narrative found in the Bible. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. So who gives a shit if somebody who studies that is like, oh, I have 2,000 subscribers because fucking people like to hear me wax about that shit? Nobody gives a shit. What matters is, oh, that knowledge transforms people's lives. That knowledge helps people understand the world better. That knowledge helps people deconvert or deconstruct, or that knowledge helps people feel empowered to be more confident in their skepticism, more confident in their atheism, more confident in their lack of belief. It gives them tools when they're in conversations with the believers and fundamentalists in their own lives. In other words, it's not about the fucking academic who has useless information to spew all day long. It's about the audience who needs that information in a very real and practical way. And so I was like, yeah, thinking about how my content highlights what's great about me is the wrong focus. The focus needs to be, I have a community that actually fucking wants this shit and I'm useful to them. That's what this is about. So at the end of the day, I'm grateful because it's all about how I'm useful to you guys. It's not really about how y'all support me. It's a funny little dance we're in. You know, y'all support me. That helps me go, 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 go. But as I go, 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 I'm really like, me going helps feed this community. And that's actually what, you know, my advisors, my mentors, and my program and shit are actually behind. Otherwise, I'm just a scientist who spends way too much time streaming on YouTube and should actually be in the lab, you know, focused on writing science papers and, you know, writing research grants. Anybody else in my position who focuses this much on content creation and streaming is literally shooting themselves in the foot and undermining their career. It's like my advisor said, if I thought this wouldn't work, I'd have told you a long time ago because you'd be ruining your career. But they do believe it will work. And they believe it will work not because of me. They believe it will work because of you guys. So, man, I'm really grateful for you guys because you've empowered me to sort of pursue my dream of not just, you know, my academic evolutionary research, but also my passion for science and multimedia by sort of giving me a community of people that I can serve with it. So, man, I'm just incredibly grateful for the sort of, for all of the things that y'all have done for me. And then, of course, just needing to feel normal in not believing and being critical and being skeptical and being fearful, you know, afraid of COVID, afraid of theocracy, afraid of all the bigotry we see, afraid of the voter suppression, afraid of the insurrection, afraid of all of this. You know, and you're sitting here alone and you feel like the world is going to hell in a handbasket around you and there's nothing you could do. And you're like, yo, am I really fucking the only person seeing this shit? Am I the only person realizing that these fuckfaces running around talking about some critical race theory is the problem and not racism? Am I the fucking only person who realizes we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic and these anti-vaccine fuckfaces are talking about the vaccine will kill you and not COVID will kill you? Am I the only person realizing these motherfuckers are trying to literally take our voting rights from us, gerrymander all the fucking districts just so they can steal all of our actual personal rights from us? Holy shit. You just want to scream from the top of your lungs. Like Uncle Bobby says, like, I'd be sitting here flipping out about this shit anyway. And so you actually feel like human again because you realize there's other people who bleed the same way you bleed, who hurt the same way you hurt, who are afraid of the same things you're afraid of. And that's the positive side of tribalism. You find a tribe, you find your people, you find that place where you belong. Like that lyric says, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, ... What? Your family and other people and treat you Like, shit, they know your name too. Your enemies know your name, but here's the ... And they're always glad you came. Right? That's what it means to be amongst your people and your tribe. You're amongst like-minded people. They don't just know you, they know you and they love you and they want you here. So yeah, that's what's up. And I really appreciate all y'all nerdy rodents of the world. You know, even that type of thing. Hey man! This makes sense, man. This makes sense! You know, when I'm able to go to my advisor and say, like, yo, I set up a virtual office and can gather, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, but people use it. They're like, oh, really? Yeah. Oh, what are people doing there? Well, it's funny. I'm programming and I'm writing. James Apperson might be in there writing. Nitty might be in there. He's also programming while we're streaming. Nerdy Rodent might be in there. Also a programmer. You know, Melody Joy comes through. Everybody's got their desk. You know, Stupid Heart Energy pops in and out. Lena pops in and out. Cameron's using the virtual office but steps away and lurks when he has a client. So, again, just to show people that, hey, one, people use it, but also there are other like-minded people. My community has other scientists in it, other academics in it, other programmers in it. So, all really, really huge for me. Also just the range of friendships. Like, I really feel like some of y'all are my closest friends. You know, I joke about, you know, waking up every day to messages and texts from Cameron and stuff like that. But, you know, we've been through a lot together out here. And even recently, like with the falling out with Doug and PineCreek, man, I really felt like I had to speak up on behalf of the community. And I feel like for the most part, everybody was really with me. You know, it was easier for some of us than others, but it really was, I think, a resounding win for our community to speak up, to be noticed, to be taken seriously, and for us to make it clear that we're not going to stand for some bullshit. So that was all important to me. And then I want to touch on just briefly the way y'all all have empowered me in my personal life, being more comfortable with myself, feeling more confident talking to my family about my identity, my other friends, you know, being confident to talk about being an atheist at work or with my coworkers. You know, all of that confidence comes from the support of you guys. So really appreciate it, and wanna definitely thank also my students, my mentors, my lab mates, my graduate mentors, my co-host, all the wonderful mods, all the wonderful fans, all the live chatters. Thanks for the likes and the comments and all that type of stuff. But all these people have been really important to me. My colleagues and collaborators like Rodrigo and Cliff and, you know, just the whole gang. But I want to tie it on into our main event because we're not going to be too late today. I do want to hang out and gather, watch some of the later football game, and I got to cook dinner still. So one thing I want to say I'm also really grateful for is the support we've gotten in the community from other content creators, you know, bigger channels, you know, Gustick Gibbon and some of those opportunities, even the debate with Ken Hovind, you know, that was a big thing. But I think on Friendsgiving is really important to acknowledge our friends, and somebody I thought really would be the perfect person to highlight today, and somebody whose support has meant the world to me, and I couldn't think of a better person to highlight and to say thank you to. And again, I want to show my appreciation to all my co-hosts and mods, you know, Gin and Truth, my one black friend, James, Nidamos, Tux, the whole crew. But damn, I can't say enough about Derek, right, y'all? You know, Derek is just really, as James said, the sort of hub of our community, really takes the community seriously. Does everything he can to help the smaller channels, and he's been a great friend too. And I think we're gonna do a lot going together. A lot together going forward. I sent him a message, Happy Thanksgiving. He sent me a message back, you know, excited about getting together and doing some stuff for you guys. But you know, I think he's just been a really great example of the type of excellence that can be found in our community. And I'm just super excited to actually have a friendship with Derek, and he's always making amazing content. And so I'm going to step away real quick. Need to use a little boys' room, but we're going to go ahead and get into our feature, the main event for this stream before we, spend the rest of the evening and gather. And we're going to talk about Jordan Peterson's flawed perception of religion. But yeah, I'm really thankful to Derek over at Mythvision podcast, and looking forward to this video. Like I said, I'll be right back, and let's go ahead and get this started.
In a world growing ever more politically correct, I want to assess some of the issues that I notice in Jordan Peterson's views of religion. Him and Sam Harris had a debate/conversation. We're going to be assessing part 1. Jordan is well known for being a bright thinker and always thinking of some psychologizing way of explaining religion and the phenomenon of belief, as well as speaks on political issues all the time. I'll do my best to avoid the politics and focus on religion, because I do see something happening in his own psychology as we approach the topic of religion. As I said up front, we're not here to be politically correct. I want to bring the facts up to you so you understand where I'm coming from. My endeavor on this channel is to interview academics from all walks of life, but to get down to the data within these holy books. Sam and Jordan hit it off in this discussion, and Sam emphasized that they have a 10% disagreement at the end of the day on their views.
I had so much admiration for him in those conversations. 90% of what he said in those conversations struck me as really wise and useful and well-intentioned, and 10% didn't.
Sam was inspired by some of the podcasts that were done by Jordan Peterson on Joe Rogan and other shows. So up front, Jordan brings common ground to the table. Where they agree morally, ethically speaking, Sam Harris is a moral realist. But where things get tricky is when religion hits the scene in this discussion. They both recognize dogma coming in from both the secular and the religious world. And what are those commonalities between both the secular and the religious world? Sam Harris, at the end of the day, say dogma. And I think Jordan agrees, but also Jordan brings up the fact that primates in their bare nature fight against outgroups, and they have a tribalism that's built inside where they will rip another tribe apart if they come in their territory. I like this approach because it allows us to try and understand the phenomena of humans. And being we evolved from primates and are a modern primate itself, it's important that we keep this in mind as we understand, whether secular or religious, why people are running with these dogmas. I imagine dogma is innate, but have we evolved to a point where we should be casting off these dogmas? And does religion correlate to these dogmas? It appears Sam Harris does think that religion plays a significant role.
The only reason why I would focus on religion in particular there is that religion is the only language game wherein fundamentalism and dogmatism, dogmatism is not a pejorative concept. Dogma is a good word, specifically within Catholicism. And the notion that you must believe things on faith, that is in the absence of compelling evidence that would otherwise cause a rational person to believe it, that in a religious context is considered a feature, not a bug. Elsewhere, we recognize it to be a bug. And the other way to say that is the only thing that's wrong with religion is the dogmatism.
And where Jordan and Sam hit heads or clash is where...
Now, gang, in my estimation, this is the fatal flaw of religion. And it's quite simple. Number one... Sorry, I did not make it to the mute button in time. Thanks. All right, so number one, like I said, this is the only area of life where this is okay. Ooh. And as a result, the other thing is, it's going to cause you to be wrong. So this is what I feel about even the quote unquote liberal Christians, right? Even the people who we say, so think about this earlier. If I say to you something like this, and you'll hear Uncle Bobby and some others, Jane, a lot of people say this to you, right? If your Jesus makes you a better person, then I like your Jesus. You know, if I want people to understand that. I might agree with them. I might believe that. If your Jesus makes you that much of a better person, then please keep believing in Jesus. If I say that to you, let's understand something very clearly. I'm insulting you. I'm insulting you. I'm 100% insulting you. What I'm saying is you're so fucking pathetic that if you need this delusion and this fairy tale to continue being a decent human being, then please believe in it, because I do in fact think you're that pathetic. But if you're just like a regular old decent human being, then I'm probably going to insist that you'd be better off without Jesus. If for no other reason than because the dogmatism required by religion is not a reliable method to find the truth. And look at when you know who won the pony, it turns out, at least as far as I can tell, these religions are in fact not true. So that's the fatal problem, because if you could be honest about your religion, you'd stop believing it.
They talk about the interpretation of religion itself. Sam Harris brings up Islam as an example often in this talk, because there are extremes within the Islamic world that you don't quite see with Judaism or Christianity. And the problem is this. Most people who are adamant believers of the faith of Islam are going to take this at face value when they believe in the teachings of their holy book. In light of many terrorist attacks that have occurred in history and in recent history by those who are radicals within the Islamic faith, you can understand why someone like Sam Harris wants to hit the nail on the head with this issue. He points out that in the Quran, there are some extreme examples of hate and tribalism against other groups of non-believers. I mean, the very term itself, Islam, means submission. And in many places in the surahs of the Quran, you can find examples of hate. And I understand that there are those who are in the faith who would redefine this or make this mean only in self-defense moments. However, not all Muslims understand it this way. And in fact, that's something that Sam and Jordan talk about. Sam points out that the Quran can't be questioned. In fact, it's even deeper than a typical person would see the Bible.
Take Islam as a specific example. Islam, mainstream Islam, not just Al-Qaeda style Islam, just any Islam that really is worthy of the name in the year 2021, is founded on the claim that the Quran is the literal word of God.
All right, this is interesting just to see the breakdown here, Sunnis and Shias, and then it seems like this is the breakdown within each of those groups. I wasn't really aware of this. It's almost like a phylogeny of Islam.
On the claim that the Quran is the literal word of God. It is
yeah,
not
the
to be.
question is what does literal mean?
Yeah, but in the minds of most Muslims, most of the time, it means that these stanzas were dictated to Muhammad in his cave by the archangel Gabriel, and he was commanded to recite, and he recited them. And what we have here, in truth, the Orthodox claim is even more stringent than the seemingly analogous, fundamentalist, Christian claim about the Bible.
It is this book, and every jot and tittle of it is perfect and cannot be redefined or edited or changed in any way. And the understanding of that book is what Jordan tries to emphasize. Whoa. Well, what if the text is true, but the believers who say that they understand it, their understanding is flawed? This gets into the psychology of Jordan, where Jordan, I feel, is being an apologist for these holy books in many ways.
Thanks, Richard. We appreciate your friendliness around here, and thanks for the kind words.
Jordan has an interpretation that as I've been studying this for a long time with real academics who are experts in this field, don't draw these interpretations. And when they do, it's kind of odd. Like John Dominic Crossan, when he...
AR, are you still in Gather?
Yeah.
I'm not sharing my screen back here, am I?
No. I was watching on YouTube, so I think Carrie missing out.
Yeah, I'm just watching you.
Sorry about that. All right.
He took off, and I was like, oh, shit. Well, we'll get back to it.
All right. Here we go.
Interprets Jesus through this social reformer perspective. And if Jesus was an apocalyptic prophet, he might have got the timing wrong.
Again,
but was his message
I don't know what
wrong?
the hell I'm talking about.
See, Dale Allison Jr., he's pointed out in our Jesus course that we have coming up, The Quest for the Historical Jesus, that John Dominic Crossan will interpret biblical narratives and Jesus through the lens of his Irish and Ireland politics, the issues he grew up with in his own experience.
That looks beautiful.
Is Jordan doing something the same? It sounds and looks like this is what's happening. See, Jordan seems to be influenced by people like Joseph Campbell, the hero with 1,000 faces, and the way that he interprets the biblical stories through that lens is quite illuminating. Man, do I wish the world interpreted these stories the way that Jordan is interpreting them. However, that isn't the case. And is Jordan just this lonely voice out there trying to understand the biblical story in a way that 99.9% of its adherents don't follow or interpret it that way? Let me give you an example from the Quran. Surah 3:151. We shall cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve, all non-Muslims. Surah 9:5. Then kill the disbelievers, non-Muslims. Wherever you find them, capture them and besiege them and lie in wait for them in each and every ambush. Now, a fundamentalist who might be reading this text, who can't edit this, can't reinterpret this, might be reading this and saying, I need to take this to heart. And in fact, we've seen this happen with extremist groups within Islam.
And so the fundamentalist claim is far worse. It's that not only is there an absolute reality, truth embedded in the book, but that their particular take on that absolute reality is the absolute take on that book.
Yeah.
And so they conflate their own, they make an assumption of their own omniscience and then pass that off onto God, so to speak.
Except in their defense, and I don't often rise to the defense of fundamentalists, it's very easy to get there because some of the claims in the book are not at all hard to parse. In fact, so many of them can only be honestly interpreted one way. So to take, again, an example that will be not inflammatory to you, but makes the point, it just says that the remedy for theft in the Quran is to cut the hands off a thief. I mean, that is the unambiguous injunction. It's not an allegory. Mm-hmm. It's not. You have to indulge some kind of tortured interpretive scheme to avoid the shocking fact that the creator of the universe thinks you should live this way for all time.
Now, I am in no way saying all Muslims think this or believe this way, but there is an inherent issue in the way that they're approaching the text. How do we reinterpret all of these texts? It can be done, and many of them do. It's purely in defense, self-defense only. This is where this happens, when the disbeliever attacks us. Historically, I've asked this of Robert G. Hoyland and other experts in Islamic studies, that actually there was an offensive, an aggression on behalf of the Muslims early on in history. And of course, sure, there were times of defense as well. But there wasn't always a time of defense, even in the times of Muhammad himself. So when a believer who's following the perfect example for all space and time and existence is setting a course on how one should behave, and he is that set example, no wonder many extremists follow in his footsteps and, reading the Quran, do what the Quran is saying at face value. It'd be amazing if Jordan Peterson's interpretations of biblical stories, as well as the Quran, were impacting the world in such a manner that everybody saw this as some internal struggle and psychoanalysis of one's own behavior and the world around them with tyranny and such. But that's not what is being understood and applied on a daily basis. So why does Jordan do this? Jordan, I believe, actually applies this to his own life and psychoanalyzes everything. I couldn't help but think, and I know this is going to sound bad, but if there is a pile of chicken shit, he would find a way to make chicken salad. And this is the problem I saw within the conversation between Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson. Sam goes, we could do anything. We can interpret anything this way.
Are there important psychological truths to be found in the rubble?
In this case, Jesus is going to come back and throw the sinners into a lake of fire. And I've read to the end of the book. It's pretty scary at the end as well. I mean, Revelation is...
Yeah, no kidding. So there's an idea that...
Yeah, this is the problem I have with this. This is the fundamental flaw again. And to be honest, I think these intellectual, metaphoric and bigger picture, grander message, deeper inference about introspection of the nature, that's all bullshit, first off. Nobody wrote it that way. Nobody fucking wrote it that way. And nobody argued for it to be perceived that way until they were forced to. Right? It was only when the evidence contradicted the Bible that people started to say, it was no, it wasn't meant to be a metaphor. Stop trying to punk me. That's what I feel like Christians are always trying to do. They're trying to punk us without saying it. They're just trying to be the big bully who gets to say, I'm always right. There is no metaphor. There is no grander picture. And Sam Harris hit the right, because every time you do this, what's the bigger picture? What's the metaphor? What's the bigger message? At the end of the day, it's something about Jesus died for your sins, blase glavinoid, save you from sin, eternal life, judge from the living. Come on now. Grow up.
That's expressed in that book is that it's something like things are always falling apart in a fundamental manner. It's built into the structure.
We now have this thing called fucking entropy. Do you want to worship fucking entropy now? This is what I mean. Like, it's pointing to it. No.
There's an apocalyptic element to human life. We fail in small ways and we fail in catastrophic ways.
Yeah, and then he complains about postmodern interpretations.
And we die.
Ridiculous.
So there's and societies come to an end. There's an apocalyptic element
overwhelming sense of impending doom.
And part of what's revealed in that strange book at the end, which is like a hallucinogenic nightmare in some sense, is that the hero is born at the darkest point in
one of his signature phonetics.
And it's a psychological truth, and it's very, very apt. Because at the darkest point, this is also why Christ is born near the darkest time of the year from a metaphysical perspective. There's an idea there that when things fall apart, that's the time for the birth of the hero. And the hero in Revelation is also the place where truthful speech most clearly manifests itself, because in the Christian tradition, Christ is identified with truthful speech. And so the notion there is that redemption under apocalyptic conditions is to be found in the revelation of truthful speech, which is something that you actually believe.
Well, I believe in truthful speech, but I also believe that you can play this kind of interpretive game with almost any text. This way of thinking. But then
you can do it with the world, Sam, and that wreaks havoc with your value from facts argument.
Actually, I didn't hear what you just said. What was that?
Well, I said you can make exactly the same objection with the world of facts. Is there's an infinite number of facts and there's an infinite number of potential interpretations, and so tracking the pathway from the fact to a value is actually impossible.
And Jordan came off with honestly,
is he talking about?
To me, incoherent points to try and bring out. It sounds almost like while he's against moral relativism, the words he's saying are so relative that you can't make sense of them. You can reinterpret anything to mean anything with Jordan's methodology and how he's approaching these ancient texts. The way he approaches the book of Revelation, the way he understands this as the hero who comes at the darkest hour, that Jesus being born in the winter solstice, the darkest time of the year, is when the hero comes, and he comes to bring light and salvation to the world that's full of darkness. Beautiful, wonderful interpretation. And in fact, there may be some validity in having Jesus being born in December the 25th.
Jordan word salad Peterson.
However, most Christians do not interpret it this way. See, I've interviewed a scholar, Reuven Firestone, who's a Jew. He's a Jewish scholar, and he understands the war literature of the Hebrew Bible. And he expresses that, yes, these people were at war with surrounding neighbors. We see this issue with the Canaanites and other people in the biblical narrative. In fact, God so much says, kill every man, woman, and child in some instances with King Saul. King Saul is stripped of his kinglyhood or being king of Israel because he doesn't do that command that God gave him. Now, many apologists will back off or reinterpret, and many Christians or Jews do not follow and practice what their texts say here, as far as owning slaves or the treatment of women and such. But there is some of this in some places of the world. In fact, when I went over to Israel, Jerusalem.
And again, it just, I don't know, like, it's just faking the funk. Like, to me, once you start to recognize that you have to behave better than what's in the book, just leave the book alone.
Palestine, if you will, and saw them at the Wailing Wall. Saw that there was a side where men are allowed to pray, and they have all sorts of room. Much larger side. There's a small section on the right side of this wall where the women get. And when their children are turning 13 and they have their bar mitzvah, the women have to remain on that side and look and watch their kids while hanging out over the fence, viewing them with their fathers celebrating the bar mitzvah. But they have to be separate because that's how they have the rule there. In fact, conservative Orthodox Jews, I guarantee you, enforce that kind of rule that is in that area. My point.
Right. And this is what I mean, too, about like when you hear all these people, especially if you're in like me in the context of the States or whatever, or wherever you might be, and you hear sort of a group that's outside of whatever is perceived or presented as the dominant cultural paradigm in that area present itself as the more reasonable alternatives. You have to ask yourself, but how would you be behaving if you were the more dominant paradigm? it's easy in the States, for instance, to meet people of the Jewish faith who basically, you know, they're super reasonable, they're pro-science, they're liberal, they're blah, 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 blah. And so it's easy for them to convince themselves that their faith is, you know, basically more humanist, right? When they're outside the power dominion, all of a sudden they want to sound, and it's really the humanism. Based on secular humanism, they want to argue that they're the friendlier religion. But what I think this shows you is that if given dominion, if given authority in the social political realm, most of these faiths will enact, you know, according to the predicts of their faith. And even if there is a more moderate moral majority in these contexts, they will either find themselves unable or unwilling to challenge that theocratic status quo. And I think any religion would do this. This is the thing I'm realizing. I think the Sikhs would do this if they were in charge. The Raelians would do this if they were in charge. The Buddhists would do this if they were in charge. Maybe not this particular thing, but I mean in terms of trying to define the social political landscape according to their own desires, whatever their particular biases might be. That's why I believe secular humanism is the only common ground.
Is patriarchy, misogyny, all of these kind of ideas, slavery, you name it, are still inherent and are even promoted within the biblical text. See Joshua Bowen and Dr. Kip Davis's debate that's going to be coming on Mythvision at some point, but he's also written books about this very issue. Now, will the Muslims come along and reinterpret or find a way to neglect practicing archaic things that are within their tradition? I think many have, and I hope many more do. But when your text has it built into the text, and the understanding that most people in the religious world hold to is a dogma which promotes these violent or horrific, archaic ideas, what are we going to do? Try and defend these religions and act like their initial interpretation was some internal struggle of psychology that each human has to struggle with? I don't think we should be making chicken salad out of chicken shit. I think we should just choose a whole different platform or a whole different point of language in which we are trying to understand how to better act in the world we live in. See, that's not how most people believe it. And I hope that more people will see this and recognize even the dodginess that Jordan Peterson takes when it comes to these kind of things. He loves to attack people who are politically correct. But at the same time, when it comes to religion, he himself is taking a politically correct position and not being consistent when it comes to these issues. Jordan highlights the fact that primates act in these atrocities regardless of being secular or religious, and that humans carry these characteristics which therefore he thinks go deeper than religion itself. And I actually agree with this assumption here that humans are obviously evolved primates, and there is this inherent natural instinct to be tribalistic and to pick sides. In fact, I see politics as well as religion to go right into that avenue or that vein deeply. However, what Sam Harris points out that I want to emphasize, and I think is very important, is how religion, the dogma that comes with religion, and how dogma is, of course, encouraged within it. That's why there is dogmatism within religion. But the dogma is actually in the vein, oftentimes archaic, and going closer to that primate instinct. So there's times of war, times of killing those who aren't one of you or aren't part of your group. That's something that is still a carryover from our earlier evolutionary process. And if we can evolve out of that, why do we need these dogmas or religions to begin with? One more and
exactly. If you are already beyond it, Why do we need it to begin with? And we don't. But this is really pointing towards a hard truth. And we all know what it is. We've got to speak up and speak out against this. Otherwise, people are going to remain stuck in there. That's just, to me, that's just what it is. Man, I've got a lot of thoughts about this. This is really great.
Analysis is interpretation and the meaning of words that I find quite dodgy or strange with Jordan and Sam. Sam points out, as I've had academics on all the time, expressing the original languages and the cultural context and the meaning of these texts and what they meant to their original audiences. Jordan Peterson is definitely taking a 19th, 20th century almost Jungian interpretational model and projecting it back onto the biblical text, onto the Quran, or whatever holy book it may be, trying to find deeper meaning within the ink of these texts. But as Sam points out, it's not that simple. In fact, there are some texts that are so clear and obvious on what they mean face value that you're actually doing an injustice to the literature by trying to go and do this special psychologizing to this ancient literature. See, Jordan tries to defend that it is the believers who have misunderstood the text, and that the text may not mean what they interpret it to mean. Therefore, they act like they have the omniscience of meaning on these texts. And while that's important to understand that how people perceive and interpret these texts can change over time, the real question is, sometimes the texts themselves are just so ugly and just so straightforward that in fact you look like you're doing double standards and special pleading just to try and pretend the text means something else to give it.
And why? What else on earth do you read this way?
Benefit of the doubt rather than what the text actually means. And Sam Harris, I think, is right in his approach of this text. Sure, he wishes that we could all just get every human being on planet Earth to just reinterpret and psychologize these texts to make them mean something of your own inner struggle. And this inner struggle is something, this journey as a human you're going through. However, the texts themselves, you're actually doing damage by reinterpreting them the way that Jordan is doing this, rather than seeing it the way they see it. And unless Jordan can change the whole world of believers and how they horrifically interpret and apply some of this literature in their own lives, I just don't see any point in why he would want to change it when academics are actually showing you their original intent and purpose here on Mythvision.
Wow. Wow. That was so good, gang. And
it was very powerful.
Really powerful. And I think it speaks to something that, you know, I think is just perfect timing-wise, because it's Thanksgiving. And that means a lot of people are going to be with family and friends. And for lack of better, for better or worse, it means people are going to be around a lot of the religious stuff that they don't want to be. And we were talking the other day about how sometimes it's the people in your life, your family, your friend group, who are the most faithful, who are the genuine ones who want to fight for and defend their faith, who get swept up in the Jordan Petersons, the William Lane Craig, Sean McDowell, whatever, William Lane Craig, all these fools. All right, so for me, that means this is timely to have a succinct and clear, way to discuss the heart of the issue with, in this case, the Jordan Petersons of the world. And, I'm not where Derek is at, to where he's making that content at a level where he can really influence a lot of people who really might be on the hook with the Jordan Peterson stuff. And man, it pains me to admit this, but I have some friends in my church, for instance, that were, really about that Jordan Peterson. And I remember those being some really tough conversations because, I could tell that they really admired him, and I had to be the one to kind of debunk him, for lack of a better way to put it. So, really great thing for Derek to do this. And I think this is a problem because I think Jordan Peterson is, one, arguing and philosophizing himself into a pro-Christian stance that doesn't really represent the Christianity that's practiced in most people's lives. And then on top of that, it requires, again, this reinterpretation. This is what I don't like even about soft liberal Christians, the faith, puppies, love, and rainbows, building bridges of love and understanding in the name of Jesus Christians that we have, because they all rely on the same thing too, twisting and contorting the original intent of this stuff so that it can be so pro-humanist that it's no longer what it was meant to be. And at that point, you would be doing more for everybody to just come on over to our side rather than pretending that your nonsense religion intended to be on our side all along because Jesus was, the perfect human or whatever. So, that's just kind of that. But, let's get up out of here. I definitely think that was really good and really timely. There's a link to Derek's channel in the description. Also, like I said, we will be here in Gather for the remainder of the day. We'll be watching the game. I'm going to start cooking. I need to cook some dinner, some Thanksgiving dinner, going with salmon and mac and cheese. So wish me luck. And I'm going to go get ready to celebrate Friendsgiving with the gang and Gather. And I've pinned the link. It's in the description as well. I want to thank everybody. I'm so grateful to have all of you in my life and grateful for all of your support. Oh, Stupid Horror Energy, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm really grateful. Thanks for all your financial support. That really helps out. It's a big help to the old building fund around here. Thank you so much, Stupid Horror Energy. Really, we all love you.
Coming on today.
And thanks for coming on today. And thanks for all the fantastic science content you drop on us and all the help with Gather and the content here and the links. Yeah, we really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, come link up with us and Gather if you get a chance. Like I said, the link is in the description. We'll be here around the clock all weekend. You don't need a password or anything. But I'm so grateful to all of you, and we'll see you tomorrow. In the name of the Darwin and the Dawkins and the Christopher Hitchens, science bless you all. Thank you so much again. Poof!
Why she wanna leave me alone? Saying all I do is wrong. No rights when they been left turns. Playing that she gotta let it burn. Saying that the house not a home. Sunshine cause she heard it all before. Sometimes she don't wanna be alone. Most times she don't want me gone. She don't know I try my all. She don't know I sprung in the sun, but I'm going in the winter, so we good to the fall. Remember how I told you I get it and I win. Now I'm got it, you ain't answer my call. Wonder if I've been moving too strong. Maybe I just been moving too balls. Really hate when the feeling get lost. Nowadays she just dodge my calls. In the game throwing laws like Paul. Young legend Miss John like Wall. And I wish you never met like Call. Thick game lay it down like Law. Made plans but you canceled them all. I was just trying to splurge in the mall. Now I'm home stacking bread till you call. It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking Zah. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib, you know I need you by my side, girl. It's time to roll. She tryna ride. We smoking. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my rib,
baby, know I need you by my side, girl.
Be smoking that side, I'm trying to get high. She said that she not ready for lust, I waste my time. I got demons in my closet, I can't hide. I did all my exes wrong, they wish I died. Damn, I tried. They won't believe me when I say this. Oh my God, what a blessing. Hello Phoenix, that's my twin. I told these hoes they won't get my heart again, not again. Cause they went missing when I needed just a friend. They went missing, yeah, they all went missing. They don't want no smoke, they hit the blunt and started tripping. My daughter about to be 5, I ain't got no time to be bitching. I'm still reminiscing, we ain't had no food in the kitchen. I gotta go and stack. I'm waiting, no I'm heading, but I'm going out. I hit the side, now your sack feel like I'm throwing up. And I just took another perk, cause one wasn't enough. Yeah.
It's time to roll. She tryna slide. We smoking out. Stop acting shy. Cause you a demon when I get between your thighs, girl. You like my